Should I just leave this here, or?
Yes, that'd be fine. Thank you. Commissioner Madden.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mr. Townsend, I just have a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind. One is, typically, certainly I'm not in the legislature, so I'm not sure when they create a law and there are complications or there are things that have not been worked out, they don't have the most clarity. Who typically would be in charge of looking at those laws to make sure they are, appropriately enforced?
I'd redirect that question to your city attorney.
Sure. I mean, it is a state law, state statute, and obviously the city commission doesn't have any jurisdiction over the interpretation of that. Typically, that would be addressed through some kind of legal action to a court, a declaratory judgment action, or something to that effect. But it would be the court system, not a local government.
Okay, and so then how would that typically be announced to cities, and municipalities, and counties? To Mr. Townsend's point, how would our hospitals know how to, make sure they're taking care of this life exception and giving women the care that they need to protect their life? How would hospitals typically know if something's made at the state level? How does that filter through the state so that folks are able to have the clarity they need to make sure that they're protecting the life of the mother?
Through a court judgment. I mean, court judgments are published, so that would be.
But ACA.
ACA is the Agency for Healthcare.
CHA
Is the state purview over how statutorily it's implemented, and then they have to go through rigorous, from my understanding, and somebody can correct me, rigorous oversight where ACA comes in, they look at all their measurements, they look at all their accountabilities, and that's the accountable structure to the healthcare system in the state of Florida. And then JCO is the Joint Commission from the federal level, is my understanding.
And they have not come up with this list yet to provide clarity to doctors?
I'm looking it up right now. I don't
No.
see it.
They've listed two conditions specifically, a third that they might as well not have listed because it's you can't follow what they're saying. And they haven't done anything at all for fatal fetal anomalies. There's no list. So LRH is left to come up with this on their own, which is why you had what happened last year to the woman. And that's only the one we know about because that woman was brave enough to talk about it. I think there are a lot of vulnerable people who are at the mercy of this bureaucracy right now. And I do feel like the city commission has an obligation to at least clarify what they face. I think the state has completely abdicated its responsibilities. I think they're completely uninterested in trying to even make this law work. I just think they're trying to avoid blame for it. And I'm sorry that you guys are stuck with it, but I think you are. And that was my wider point today. So.
Thank you.
Well, and I know you asked for kind of more of a public forum. I would be curious if at first, before that, we were able to reach out to ACA to find if they have a list.
You can file a complaint with ACA, like it's on their website right now. If there's a complaint against ACA in Florida, that they can be filed. And so there are steps to present that to that healthcare agency. I'm just sort of Googling.
I think if the city commission made a public request for clarity, that would have a lot more effect than a formal complaint would, in my view. But again, I'm here to try to make all of you understand that this is your problem too. Really, probably more than anybody else's, because it's here. I mean, this is happening in our hospitals. It's local. I sent this same thing to LRH. They sort of acknowledged it. It's just real. It's real. This is what many people said they wanted, and it's here, and it's real, and there's a lot to deal with. So that's why I'm here today.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other Commissioner Music?
Not really a question, more of a comment. My wife was a labor and delivery nurse for 18 years and now teaches OB. And I do know that some of the hardest things are the times where they go in and they have, a DNC or they have something they have to deal with. So certainly I don't know what our power or ability is here, but I know that just from a human to human standpoint, that is, some of the toughest things that people deal with for sure. So I appreciate you bringing this up. What we can do, we'll have to lean on, our city attorney and what we can do, but
that's my last thing. I think you would be surprised what power you have just by the virtue of the positions you hold as elected officials to drive this kind of, to drive clarity. I think the quote unquote bully pulpit is one of the core powers of being an elected official. And again, I sympathize with you. You're in a difficult spot because the state isn't doing what it should be doing. And so,
Thank you.
Clarity is always helpful.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Clarity.
All right, this is then are there any other audience